How you doing, everybody? I thought I'd give my views on the, I'll say, big fight, big enough fight in the grand scheme of things between Jamel Herring, the defending champion, against the up and coming potential superstar in Shakur Stevenson. It's an interesting fight. Um, I think that Shakur will be the heavy favourite, as and I would agree with that. I think he's young. He's a younger, fresher guy in the fight, certainly. Um, he's a lovely style. He can punch hard enough. Something that we've seen him develop over time. But his ring IQ is fantastic. He's a very clever fighter. Knows his way around the ring. Can box. Can fight. Can do a bit of everything really. Um, and in the opposite corner, the defending champion is Jamel Herring, someone who I know very well, who is a good fighter, as I found out in my last fight. Um, Clever, wily. I think mentally a very strong fighter. Mentally stronger than anyone Shakur Stevenson has fought so far. Um, and it's a really interesting fight. I do favour Shakur in this fight. I think that just his youthfulness and freshness, and I suppose his better kind of boxing ring IQ and all round game will probably um, be enough for him to win the fight. But I think Jamel Herring probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think if you look and compare both guys' records, I'm probably the biggest win on it. So Jamel obviously beat me, and he beat me quite convincingly in my last fight. Although, I'm an aging fighter and I wasn't as good as I once was, blah blah blah. But I went into that fight in good shape, expecting to win. I believed I could win the fight, and Jamel Herring was just too good for me and too big as well. Um, yeah, so I'm probably the best win in either guy's records. I think that I think that Jamel has it all to do here. I think that being the underdog in the fight is probably going to suit him. No real expectations, no real pressure on him, and obviously Top Rank and Bob Arum and everybody else is pushing for Shakur to be the next superstar. I think that if he wins this fight, I don't think he's going to hang around at the 130-pound division. I think we're going to see him jump up to lightweight. Um, and he's got the ability to do very well there. Um, yeah, I think a lot of stick has been given to Jamel as well, and certainly I suppose I criticised him a little bit ahead of my fight with the performance against Aquendo, and I was maybe looking at that and trying to take too much out of it, but he was winning that fight. Aquendo was he was being warned a lot for the headbutts. I don't think they were on purpose. I don't think they were malicious. I think they were accidental, and that's what happens when a southpaw and an orthodox fighter fight each other. And Aquendo, the shorter guy, coming forward trying to apply the pressure. Um, it just happened. So I think the referee was a little bit harsh on Aquendo in that fight. But in saying that, Jamel Herring was a mile in front, and I'm thinking, when he's got the cuts and he's coming back to the corner, I think it was experience from Jamel and from his corner to get him out of there. You have people saying, myself included, saying he should have stayed in there. He should have finished the fight. He was going to win the fight anyway. But when you're someone at the stage of Jamel Herring, you don't. If you're winning the fight, the referee's going to stop the fight because of purpose, headbutts on purpose, as what he described it as, and you're going to win the fight by disqualification, then you take that. And I think it was a wily move from his team and from Jamel. So I think there's been a little bit of credit or discredit done to Jamel, and I don't think it's been very fair. I think it was a clever, experienced move by him and his team. But Shakur is an up and coming fighter. Real talent. Again, like I've said, I don't want to harp on, but potential superstar in the making. But this is a big breakout fight for him, and it gives him the chance to become a champion in another division. I think the one thing that Jamel has always had in fights is size. He's always been the bigger guy, and he is the bigger guy in this fight, but not by much. Shakur is a young, hungry dog, and he's a big guy too. Um, so that's going to be something that Jamel won't. I suppose he hasn't really had to deal with before. Someone as equally as big and as strong as him. Um, so that's going to be difficult for him. I'm a big fan of Jamel Herring. I like him a lot. I think he's a good guy. I like everything about him. And I would like him to win this fight for a couple of reasons. Well, he's a nice guy, and secondly, because it makes my defeat to him not look as bad. But I do want him to win the fight, but I just can't see it. I think that Shakur is the young, hungry kid in the fight. It's going to be a bit too much for him, and Shakur will win. I don't think he'll stop Jamel Herring. I think he will win on points. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think it'll be reasonably wide. Yeah, and I think Shakur Stevenson will win this fight. He will probably vacate the title and move on to the 135-pound division, where there is absolutely monstrous fights for the kid. So that's how I see it going. How do you see it going? And also subscribe to this page. I'm up around 6,000 followers. I'm starting to get a wee bit of traction. I'm thinking about maybe getting someone in to help me do these, because it's just me on my phone talking a lot of nonsense at times. So hopefully I'm trying to raise the profile of my YouTube channel a wee bit, and yeah, subscribe, like, do all that stuff, and let me know what you think.